Now it's time for that 2B video I was talking about. Y'all read the title and you probably saw the thumbnail. I was going to make this a much more bigger thing, but honestly, in accordance with the thing I just said in the other video, I'm not going to try to make it bigger than what it is. There are some examples I could probably point to by name, but I'm not going to put any links to them. If you really want to go find them, you can go find them. But, have you known, and do you know, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, you are not immune to propaganda. None of us are. I'm not, you're not, we're not. We live in a world where people are trying to get your attention with the most hyperbolic thing that they can say to get you to turn your head. And then, when you either decide, oh, that's not exactly as bad as it is, haha, funny meme, and you give them your like and your retweet, or you give them your double tap and you move on, or they try to monetize your ass to get you to be upset about something that you have no reason to be upset about, or try to get you to support something that you have no reason to support. That's social engineering. Happens everywhere. Everyone can be guilty of it. Even me. Even you. So, how do you move forward in this time period where we now no longer can trust Twitter, because I guess it's connected to real-time shit. Twitter proving themselves as liars by revealing and being revealed by hackers that not only do they censor people, but they have a shadow banning tool that is such a admin function, they can directly go into the account, they can untag and untie your email from the system and account, and make it so that they can just simply make you say what they want you to say, so they can be able to handle you in whatever they want. Not only is that a privacy and security concern that shows that this place is a publisher and not a platform, and thus needs to get slapped with some fines and restructured, punished in the way in which they are deserving, but it is also the standard that shows us, especially with what we see on a day-to-day basis, that there are people who are willing to tell lies for the sake of clout and the clout alone. So, how do you learn to pay attention to whether or not that is real? How do you gauge reality when everything around you is fiction of a self and man-made mythology? The answer I would give you is kind of tied to the kind of answer that a person should give when understanding and studying this topic and subject. And that depends on the person-to-person interaction and basis. Which is, if you want to protect yourself from fake news, you want to protect yourself from social engineering, if you want to protect yourself from propaganda, learn the mindset. Not just study the actions and behaviors, because actions and behaviors can very clearly be they can be disharmonious. They can have no correlation between them, like being a shit poster. But learn the personality, the importances, is that the word I'm using? Is that the word? The importance? The important topics, I guess. Learn the priorities and the important topics that are important to that person, and make a manifest, observable behavior character judgment. There's that word again. Make a character judgment based on the manifest, observable behavior and consistent behavior of the person who's saying or doing it. For some people, this is as simple as scrolling down a timeline. For some, it's as big as doing archaeological account grievances on someone and finding out that they once, back then when they were 5, accidentally kicked a puppy in the nose. You ask yourself, is this something that's worth being mad about? You look at the headline, you ask yourself, is this reality? Is this the truth of what happened on the ground? You look at a report in an archive from a site like that of the Wayback Machine. By the way, if you're archiving, don't use the Wayback Machine anymore. They are actively scrubbing links. Use the archive.today backend. If you make those character judgments and you analyze those things based on those people, you can assist yourself in knowing whether or not they're on that bullshit. You're not always going to know if they are. That's just a fact. There's no way that you can be able to find out and tell. You will never know the heart of a person if you just assume, however, that they are one-dimensional. Some people are two-dimensional. Some are three. Some are even 6 and 7. Some are even hyper and interdimensional. And when they equip themselves in that armor to deal with the autism that is a website like Twitter, or a place like Twitch, or a business like live streaming, or anything that happens to deal with the front-facing public, and having some level of degree of people watching your life and scrutinizing you at every moment, when you're dealing with those people, when you're dealing with those opportunities, and when you're dealing with that feeling in the pit of your gut, you have to ask yourself, would that be something that they did? Is that something that this person would say? Is that something that this person would do? And then if you can make the character judgment and you know, then go with that feeling. Go what you got. Don't just believe people when they say shit. And I mean that. Don't just believe shit because someone said it. Including me. Don't just believe shit because I said it. Granted, I'm going to try not to lie to you, but should you feel the need to distrust me, please fact check my ass. Do to me what I do to these people. Get in my ass and continue being a hernia. That's what you should do. So you know what's real or not. You don't need to be hyperbolic about it. You don't need to be hard on it all the time, like fucking white on rice. But you do need to find out your own information. This is why I'm starting to not give y'all shit anymore. I've babied you. I've babied you like small little pups for far too long. And it is not because I don't dislike you. It is because we are moving towards a time period now where we have to make sure everyone's paying attention. It isn't, and I'm not even talking about things that I do. I'm talking about the world in general. Something that I'm going to have to say here, this might be controversial for some of you. You cannot escape the politic. When I say that, is you cannot escape the outrage cycle of mainstream news. You cannot escape the everyday hustle and bustle of the world. It's inescapable. You will never be able to get on top of it. Power structures exist everywhere in your life. However, that does not mean everything is political. That does not mean, therefore, you must become a political shitheel. What I am saying to you is, there are people who will use your outrage to fuel their desires and mob. Don't let them. Don't let them. Fact check everything around you. Become an informed citizen and a sovereign civilian. Backwards. An informed civilian and a sovereign citizen. And wield your rights like your weapon. Use your words. Use your mind. Use it as a weapon. Don't let them weaponize you. Because, once you do so, you'll be able to realize that a lot of these snake fucks that I was talking about that one day on the stream will start to go away. Because the reason a lot of propaganda exists now in this time period, especially for the shit going on right now, when we look back on this in the past, we'll look back and say, oh man, how couldn't we have seen that? Oh man, how couldn't we have known? God damn, Carl, how did you predict the corona would be so bad? You know? There's sometimes I look back at my old content and I look at things that I said then and I judge them based on what's happening now, and I make a judgment whether or not I knew that I was on my shit or if there was more I needed to be done. A perfect example is the Coof. I did not want the Coof to be as big as the thing as it was, but my prediction is that the Coof would then lead to rioting and havoc and destruction in the streets. And when I went back and I saw that comment, somebody actually on that video said exactly that. Made my fucking stomach drop. That's the time we live in now. This will go down in history as a time of chaos and radical change. That change being good or bad is really up to whomever is spinning that coin. And me, I want to spin that coin as much as possible so it lands on its edge. But if it doesn't, we need to be prepared for what's going to happen next. At least be paying attention and noticing when the cabal comes in and they make it a sweeping grand judgment, who we need to blame for when it all goes down. That far. That's as far as I'll give it that. And that's as much as you're getting out of me out of that. Because, again, all that shit makes my fucking brain melt. But if I've said anything, I am saying this. Pay attention. Archive everything you see. Archive, then shitpost. Archive it, then mock people. Make sure you have a record of what you're looking at. Don't just say a thing happened. Don't just take screenshots because they can be inspect elemented. People will try to use that to throw invalidity on what you said. But you need to have receipts so you can make them return that shit back to sender. That's the most important reason why. You also need receipts so you can hold people accountable. That's also another reason why we should all do so. Because once everybody archives everything, these people will no longer have the ability to do what they do. Because they operate on people not being informed. They operate on people outrage clicking on their shit and giving them money like this. I'm talking about the legacy media. I'm talking about charlatans. I'm talking about all of those people. You know the fucking types. You know the ones. I've used some examples of names. I've shown you some types. If you have not, I invite you to please go watch my videos. I cover many of them. I will continue to cover many of them into the future and beyond. But that should be enough for this video today. So to recap, you're not immune to propaganda. Neither am I. You are allowed to make mistakes. Just hold yourself accountable when you do. Alright? Alright. Take care now. I love you. Goodbye, everybody. Bon nuit. Or actually, bon après-midi. Till afternoon.